glitch runs, the DLC exclusive. Last time we were on, we had just finished to the Soul Cairn. We had cleared the Soul Cairn. We had started in Darkfall Passage and managed to learn about the Falmer and the one Snow Elf guardian of the Bow of Ariel, or Ariel's Bow. And that is where we are picking up. We made it into the passage of, or Darkfall Passage, not the cave, the passage. We have to basically find all 5 of the shrines, the way shrines, in order to go find the corrupted, and I already know how the song and dance goes, the corrupted elf ruler behind the, what you want to call it, behind Ariel's bow and the Chantry's downfall. I was wondering where I was being shot.
Done and done.
Anyway,
who's there?
There's a lot of additional content that could just be covered in solely this area alone. Because in this area, you actually find one of those shell bugs that you can use for, if you've played or gotten the DLC at all, you can get the shellbug helmet, and you can create one of your own, but you need shellbug parts and plates to do so. In this cave area alone is one. They are extremely hard to find. There is another location to the Forgotten Vale, which we will get to later. But at the very base of the trail to ascend up to the Forgotten Vale is a small, out-of-the-way cave containing a single, ginormous shell bug. It's like a secret passage that is an unopened area right there. I have to find a poultry, but see what's in there now, because now I'm curious. That is something I have not seen before. Perhaps it is an additional shell bug in the cage, but I'm uncertain. Chances of that being the case are likely, but you never know. And yes, I am just trying to find the pull string to open that little way, and I know it is a cave trail because of the cutout it has. The archway is like a door sitting right there. Remember that there is some kind of mechanism for almost every door within the images. The reason I care is because I like to find every secret I can along the way. If I can find it, I'm almost certain that I will be the best for it. Because there is so much to this area that even through all the run-throughs I've made, I still do not know everything about this area. I've only ever managed to find 3 out of all 5 of the Falmer tomes, and there are some which are, you know, really rather interesting instead of just being, oh hey, it's just this, and it's really, you know, a whole bunch more. Being that I've never found all of the Falmer tomes, I was curious to want to try to do that. Because you can take those books to Urog in the Arcanium of the College of Winterhold, just additional side quests, and he offers you a translated copy of each of the tomes you find, as well as some gold. That deal is extremely valuable. especially if you don't get a lot of gold. Now, the reason I am concerned and continuously looking over this area, like I said, is for the pulse chain or the activator switch for that little cutout on the other side of the water. Why? Because I don't know what's in there. I've never been in that spot. I've only just discovered that there's a location right there. Now, exactly what that spot is supposed to do, I am unsure. And I've run through this game so many times. Through this area alone, I've been through like 60 to 100 times out of every run of the game I've ever played. And each time I come through and I'm like, oh, there's nothing else to see here. And then I realized there is so much more in here than I realized, because eventually I stumbled on the shell bug, which for the longest time I did not know even was in here. And I looked up and down for the means to find it. I looked it up online for some of the previous run-throughs a long time ago, and then I was like, huh. Each of these little, like, tents that they've got set up, the Falmer, or the Betrayed, is made out of this single shell bug carcass. And it is strange how that works, you know. There's so many shell bugs, ginormous shell bugs. They kind of look like the little creatures that you see running around. They're little side companions, which either, I guess, turn into these things, or they become the shell bugs eventually. As far as I can guess, because otherwise, I don't think there'd be so many of those shell bugs around that the Falmer could just easily overrun and kill. But yet, they have so many little huts just made out of the shell bugs. Always, it made me kind of curious how they created such without even so much as a thought process. Oh, I know where this leads to. Alright, I got caught up. I was still just trying to look for it and see if I could find it here somewhere. I'm pretty sure there is a pull chain over in there somewhere, but I know there's one on the other side of it as well. And I know it wouldn't make it so difficult to find it if there wasn't a way to open it. So this is obviously a trap. We are going to spring the trap. Oh hey, that hit us, but it didn't do any damage, really.
Done and done.
I don't see any of the Falmer around, so I can't really hit them if I don't see them. Normally, the secrets of the pull tabs and things are where 9 out of 10 of them have glowing mushrooms around them in this area. That's why I keep looking and making sure that I'm not missing the pull tab somewhere. Because there's always multiple pull tabs for the same entryway or archetype, you know. Sometimes there's one hidden in plain sight that you just overlook. There's also possibly one that's hiding somewhere out of sight just to see if you look for it and find it. There's also pull tab hiding on the opposite side of the door. When it comes to the Falmer locations, and I've been through many Falmer areas. Each one comes with its own unique little concerning place. Its own little mechanism, designs, and so on. All of these little light fixtures and sort of
Done and done.
always, because you never know what you might find. checking through everything could mean the difference of finding all of the tomes and only finding a handful of the tomes. Excuse me. Normally, I only find the last 2 to 3 tomes, and the areas right before the chantry when we run up to go get the bow. I've only ever found those few right before it. I've tried to find the other 2, but most of the time end up being unsuccessful for some reason. I'm not entirely sure why or where these Falmer tomes could be otherwise. I mean, supposedly all of the tomes have their own unique location, but as you can see, I've walked through 3 of the table spots, which usually should consist of either some kind of armor or treasure or a tome. And let me try to find one right here. The tomes will usually be placed on one of these tables or near one of these kind of weird table-like structures. As you can see, there's only armor, a sword, some potions, empty chest in the opposite side of the room. All of the light fixtures come up bearing nothing. Look around every corner for just seeing if there's another switch or something we've missed. Alright, so as you can see, I jumped over a trap, which I think Serana just walked into. Yes, they walked right through the tripwire. That's a rack joint tripwire, which normally doesn't have much of an issue anyway, but, you know, it is what it is. Every little bit makes a difference.
Almost does. Who's there?
Okay. Don't ask who's there if you already know the answers.
Done and done.
So, every little area can hold the secret to opening the rest of it to us. It's kind of difficult not to want to try to jump up here to see if there's something up here that we might miss. It's always worth double checking every location, every spot of entry or exits, just in case we might miss something. Thorough over quick and easy. Makes a major difference. Yes, I can basically look over this area in a few moments, find something, miss something, and yet still continue to push forward. As far as I know, none of the Falmer carry any of the tomes. Across the little footbridge. Not entirely sure what that's supposed to glimpse at over in that little hole in the wall there, but walk down the opposite footbridge just to make sure we didn't miss something. 2 footbridges usually signify something of great importance. Normally looking up and down. taking a look in every crevice, watching out for the rock falls that just happened. This area here could consist of a number of different things. Potion ingredients, there's a skeleton here. I'm not exactly sure what the story behind the skeleton is. Perhaps a dead traveler that missed and fell to his pretty quick and easy death. Here are some two different openings. One activates all the traps.
Where'd you come
One activates the door.
That'll teach you.
So, and a third one. Like I said, this probably closes the door again. Yep. Man, that was a really quick drop and open. Opening was slow, but the closing was like instant. You've seen how that went. These things are not to be messed around with. If you can get them before they open and plume, you can harvest poison from them, as you just see me did. But they were recent additions to the game. They never used to be there. Those poison plumes are extremely hard to avoid if they plume on you. And if they do, the poison, depending on your level, can and eventually might kill your character. Typically. And they can show up almost anywhere. They were an addition to the area about maybe 3 or 4 updates before now. They are fairly new in comparison to the average. When I first seen them, I was like, what are these? Instantly getting plumed on the first few times, seeing what it do, I realized, oh, they're supposed to be like some kind of natural defense system of the area. That was recently added. Harvesting them makes it so much easier to avoid their poisonous fumes. Even enchanted gear might not help. Defend you against these, because those plumes can be very toxic. And either way, no matter what you try to do, they can end up being really damaging. Being that I have a Ring of God mode, which allows me to avoid the poison, I literally can just walk right up to these things. And as you notice, it is continuous. It doesn't end really quickly as it begins. It is a prolonged poison. And even with the ability to resist poison and all that, it still hit us. It still made us literally feel the poison. It still made the character cough and hack a little bit. Surprisingly. There's something we can use those for edited content later. Yeah, we never found that extra entry point. Some of those blooms can also be instant, mind you.
Welcome in. Then behold Ariel's gift, my child.
I'm not
May it
exactly
light your
sure
path as
why
you
he's
seek
just a floating
tranquility
head, but
within the
all
inner
of the
sanctum.
spectral individuals here are just floating heads. I forget why exactly, it just kind of has that effect with them. They still act fairly normal in comparison. Now we're going to the Forgotten Vale. As soon as we travel to the Forgotten Vale, which we just did, the passage back changes. How so is because by the time we get to the next way shrine, all the passages we've been through open. And it ends up changing from a just instant to the next area starting point all the way into just being basically here you can travel between these two way shrines. That's it. So if you wanted to go back through and find the shell bug later, you'd have to walk from the Forgotten Vale back down, back through that portal entryway we just looked back at, and then try to go back through and find where the shell bug is, and take the unnecessarily long amount of time it takes to just find that pull tab, which that little room I passed by, I'm certain was the path for the shell bug. But I mean, you know, give or take, eventually someone will come back through, probably find it, or other people have screamed and found it. Crit strike. Now there kinda is a couple of things we can do. Another reason I'm kind of looking around, I'm looking for the creatures who contain the paragons, the jeweled paragons. I forget why those are so important in the sanctum, but they are apparently an additional item challenge you can do. Being that I have never collected all of them, I'm always missing like one or two of them.
Who's there?
I'm deciding to try and find them all now. Oh, instant kill, straight crit screen. But in order to do that, we have to find some pretty powerful creatures, and normally they are hard to locate. Supposedly there is one in the caves, last I heard and seen while looking it up, but I doubt it, because all the changes. That's the way shrine we'll be looking for later. We can get it now while we're at it.
Well, then behold Ariel's gift, my child. May it speed your journey to the inner sanctum.
Now this is what I was talking about right here. This only pushes us back to the passage, which we started in. Sure, we could go back, try to re-find what we were missing and didn't find in the first run, but there's other things we can do. We have to walk up along paths from here in the Forgotten Vale, further in, further along, so on and so forth. Now, there's supposedly a Falmer cave system that connects the entire area from the secrets of the Forgotten Vale starting point to the midsection and all the way up to the tops of the mountains. There in those caves, I believe, are the missing areas in which the other jeweled paragons actually might be in. This being the starting of this cave system. It is my theory that this cave system also might be where the Falmer actually used to assault the Chantry originally from. Some places like this cave system might actually connect right up into the Chantry itself. Because when the Chantry actually collapses during our fight with, what's his name, the Archturin, and that just enters and opens something, what we do not see as of yet. Attacking us from somewhere. So, as you can kind of tell, we found a pull tab of some kind. What that pull tab actually does, is it right yet? I'm not entirely sure because I very seldom come through here. Now, there is something I can kind of do to try and help find our way through here. And it just so happened that the mage who gave us the spell actually kind of helps with that. Another reason why we did the little test before coming here. We didn't have that spell, and it allows us to illuminate our way. Trying to light up everything so I can see where I was really kind of walking around into. Because now I have to walk around again. I don't want to miss anything. Like I said, I'm trying to be as thorough as possible on the entire Forgotten Vale location. And as it looks, there doesn't seem to be anything that it opens in here. Pull tab was something to activate, and then it just kind of does absolutely nothing that we can see in here. Just to show you, right next to it is complete rock. But as some of you might think, that pull tab is actually one of a number. Supposedly that opens the passage into the, the little cavern system we had previously left. Normally, the reason I say that is because it does work that way. This cave is just one of a few. That one opens the passages we've left previously, and later on I will show you exactly where it takes, precedent, why it was important once we've completed our trip to the summit of the mountain and we get the bow, Ariel's bow. But that cave system is one of two. That one in particular is officially now on our map, but otherwise it would not have been. There is another one further up the hills, or there is another part of it somewhere around here. I normally do not go in search of the caves because it's just a simpler, just to straight up walk the mountains. But, you know, sometimes if you want to find everything, you gotta look at everything. Oh, sorry, I was getting a phone call. Sorry, I will have to basically come back at a later time and finish this. Right now, I just got a call and said I have to go get my lunch, even though someone said they were going to pick it up for me. A little upset that, but okay. I'll be back in a little while.